Hello Magic fans, I'm Beef and welcome back to an historic gameplay video, this time featuring an updated white-green Lifegain deck. So we have played this deck, or a very similar deck on the channel before. So what has it gained? The main one from Duskmorn is Leyline of Hope. Leyline, like all Leylines, costs 4 mana. And it says, if it's in your opening hand, you may begin the game with it on the battlefield, so no chance to counter it or anything like that. And then if you gain life, you gain that much life plus 1 instead. So you gain 1 life, you gain 2, you gain 3 life, you gain 4. And as long as you have at least 7 life more than your starting life title, so 27 in historic, creatures you control get +2/+2. So this may remind people from a very powerful card that we've played in another live game based deck, Righteous Valkyrie, which has that exact same text box at the end. So this acts as like a Righteous Valkyrie, and if we have it in play at the start, it's very powerful. What else do we have that we didn't play in the last deck? Well, we have Essence Channeler, which was from Bloomburrow. So we only have 2 copies. There's 2 mana, 2/1. Says as long as you've lost life this turn, Essence Channeler has Flying and Vigilance. So we do have 4 copies of Brushland, so we can ping ourselves with our land if need be. But then it has, when you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on the Channeler, and when it dies, it puts counters on target creature you control. So what else do we have in the deck? We have our Lifegain Enabler. So we have 4 copies of Guide of Souls. When the creature enters under our control, we gain a life and an energy. And when we attack, we pay 4 energy. If we do, put 2 +1/+1 counters and a flying counter on target attacking creature. It becomes an angel in addition to other types. This is the nerfed version. The original version and paper version is 3 energy. So just bear that in mind. 2 copies of Case of the Uneaten Feast. It has, whenever a creature you control enters, you pay 1 life. And then to solve it, we gain 5 or more life in our turn. And then once it's solved, we can sacrifice it to give all creatures in a graveyard. You may cast this card from your graveyard until end of turn. So a great way to get back creatures that have been killed. And because our curve is really low, we can probably play out most things in our graveyard. We only have 2 copies of this because while it is harder to remove than creatures, so it can be really good to have in our open hand, it's not a creature, so it doesn't trigger our Guide of Souls or our other life gain triggers. Speaking of, Soul Warden, a 1 mana 1/1, says whenever another creature enters, that's not just under our control, that is any creature, we gain 1 life. This can be absolutely game breaking against things like really small aggro decks like goblins, because they create a lot of 1/1s, but each time they create a 1/1, we gain 1 life. So it's a bit unfair against that kind of deck, but it's really powerful. It's a great turn 1 play. And then next up, we have 4 copies, but I do have 2 different arts sets of Prosperous Innkeeper, 2 mana 1/1, has that same whenever a creature you control enters, gain 1 life. But also when it enters, we create a treasure token. So a good bit of ramp as well, and essentially a perfect draw, in my opinion, is Leyline, turn 1 Soul Warden, turn 2 Prosperous Innkeeper, then turn 2 one of our 2-drops, such as Essence Channeler or Voice of the Blessed, or Trelasara. They both have the, when you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on, but Trelasara also has Scry 1, so a great way to get for a deck, but it is legendary. But Voice of the Blessed, the real powerhouse, if it has 4 more +1/+1 counters on it, it has Flying and Vigilance. If it has 10 or more +1/+1 counters on it, it has Indestructible. So I said a perfect draw of Leyline, Soul Warden, Prosperous Innkeeper, turn 3, Voice of the Blessed, and another 2-drop. Gets those 4 counters on your Voice of the Blessed straight away, so it has Flying and Vigilance ready for turn 4 to smash in, and then it's not unheard of to get up to 10 +1/+1 counters on the following turn. Mana out of the deck, 4 copies of Skyclave Apparition as our removal, 3 mana 2/2, when it enters, exile a target non-land, non-token permanent. We don't control mana value 4 or less, so a great removal to most things, but when it dies, they don't get the permanent back. They get an XX blue token where X is the mana value of the exile card. 2 copies of Heliod, a 3 mana 5/5 indestructible, like all the gods from Myth. I can't remember the name of the plane. I'm being really stupid here. But as long as your devotion is to white is less than 5, it's not a creature. But then whenever we gain life, pay +1/+1 counter on target creature enchantment we control. Then we can play 2 to give another target creature life link until end of turn. With all the life going on, this triggers a lot. And then 4 Theros, that's the plane, got there in the end. And then 4 copies of Collected Company. Instant, look at the top 6 of our library, put up to 2 creature cards and mana, 3 or less of them onto the battlefield, put the rest on the bottom of our library in any order. All our creatures are 3 or less. In fact, the only non-land we have that is not 3 or less is Leyline of Hope, and it's not a creature. So pretty good chances of hitting things. We did have Sagada's Hope, I think it's called, which is an enchantment that says note your life total, beginning of your upkeep. If you have more life than that noted title, gain a card, and then it resets to register a new life title, and whenever you play a white card, you gain a life. But it's 4 mana, so it's a bit slow in this deck, and would much rather the more enablers and payoffs. Land bases, as you expect. We do have 2 of the new Verges, and then Temple Garden. We don't really care about the paying 2 life. Razor Verge Thicket. We have Temple Garden to turn on Verge, basically. We don't have Surveil lands, we don't want tap lands, and as mentioned earlier, we have the Pain lands to turn on our Essence Channeler. So is it good? Yeah, Lifegain decks are usually pretty powerful. They always do struggle against removal. You know, there are games where you play Soul Warden, it's removed. You play Prosperous Innkeeper, it's removed. You play Voice of the Blessed, you have no way to gain life. You might as well scoop. Or occasionally get games where Collected Company hits one thing or nothing, but it is rare, seeing as it can hit every single creature in our deck, which is basically, we only have 9 non-creature, non-lands, so it should hit. But it's a great aggro deck as well, because, you know, as I said, we can start tackling with a turn 4, probably like 10-10 with Voice of the Blessed, and Trelasara and Essence Channeler. So really, really powerful. I really enjoy it. I love playing Lifegain decks. It's just one of the kind of decks I really play. You could play Leyline of Hope in the Angels deck, the Angel Cleric deck, which we have played before. As I said, basically as extra Righteous Valkyries, and I might do that at some point, but I wanted to try it in the more traditional Soul Warden, Soul Sisters Lifegain deck. I really, really enjoy this deck. I hope you all enjoy watching it. If you do, please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the gameplay. We go first. An okay hand. We do have some removal. We can apparition away their Symmetry Sage. We could just play out Voice of the Blessed. And next turn we can Heliod and Skyclave. We'll play out Heliod first, so we get that additional life gain trigger from Skyclave. Don't know why they should have played Expressive Iteration before. Oh, we can't Heliod and Skyclave. My mistake. Or just Skyclave then. Hit him for 6. Yeah, they should have played Expressive Iteration before they play their land. That is Expressive Iteration 101 basically. Did they not think our Skyclave apparition could block their Dreadhorde Arcanist? Or did they not realise that nothing in their graveyard costs less than or equal to 1. It was very strange. We go first. We're with a lot of tap lands, but hopefully we can Prosperous Innkeeper into Voice of the Blessed. Looks like we're on the mirror match. And maybe next turn we just Coco instead of Voice of the Blessed. Or now I think we Innkeeper into Voice of the Blessed. And next turn we can Apparition away their Daxos, or maybe whatever else they play. I think I'll be getting rid of their Voice of the Blessed. Oh. We'll Soul Warden. They've gone the mono white version, it looks. But our Voice of the Best carries on growing, and I think next turn we just Coco. Or maybe we just Skyclave away their Heliod. I'm going to Coco. Let's not mess about. Wow, that is the worst Coco, almost the worst Coco you can have. They're down at 5, so they need to remove a Voice of the Blessed. So if they have their own Skyclave Apparition, they can. Yeah, and I think we've got it. Obviously we're at 30, so we don't even need to block anything. They now don't have enough mana to give any of their creatures lifelink. That's what they should have done, not played out the Priest and given their Daxos lifelink. We go first with 2 Leylines but no actual early plays. This is better, where we don't have any of our payoffs. So I'll put back the Skyclave. Oh look! It's this deck in Standard. In Historic, I mean. Now, in theory, Lifegain is this deck's antithesis. But obviously we do need Trying to think what I can have for 1 mana. We do need more creatures. I imagine one of our Soul Wardens dying. Oh, the fact that Infuriate is 1 mana. Yeah, that's a bonkers card. And yeah, they scoop it up. Don't know what they had in hand. Also, you know, no one likes playing against that deck. Just keeping it standard. We go first with a pretty decent hand. I would like to Leyline, but kind of everything. Up against Simic, so probably not much removal, maybe some bounce and obviously counter spells. Oh, they're the gate deck, so we have to try and put this away, I think, as quickly as possible. So let's take out their Cami. I know it's a bit of a waste, but it does mean we can get in. And next turn I would really like another creature. And yeah, they scoop it up. They may have had Gates Ablaze, which, well, they would have Gates Ablaze in their deck, which obviously could have wiped our Bald. May not have wiped Voice of the Blessed, because they only had 5 gates. We were about to go up to 7. So yeah, next turn they couldn't have, and obviously they're on a 2-turn clock basically. We hit in for 10, and I only have 3 left. So yeah. No life gain. All life gain. Well, at least we're going to have a decent amount of life. I think we put back the veteran. Obviously really need to draw into something, a life gain payoff. Maybe a Delirium deck? Or a reanimation deck? No, probably not either of those, since they just pitch 2 lands. Come on, Voice of the Blessed. Voice of the Blessed would be great. I think I'll get down Heliod. That way, next turn, we can start buffing our creatures. They loot again. Narset and a Valky. Ooh. I should have waited for that. The reason being, I'm now going to give my other Soul Warden lifelink. If I had waited, they could have targeted the one I did target. That's not the end of the world, because I can just recast them with Case of the Unseen Feast, Uneaten Feast. Well, let's get down Leyline, and that way, when I replay all my creatures, we will get an absolute ton of life. And then swing in for 10. I won't play out the Innkeeper. Another Leyline would turn on our Heliod. That is really annoying. Well, this should be it. Yeah, really lucky draw at the end there, but 34 to -9 kind of shows how one-sided that game kind of was. We go first. We do have a Leyline and Prosperous Innkeeper into Voice of the Blessed. And obviously if we get another 2-drop, we'll be in business. But I've played this deck before earlier. I don't know if I played this exact player. I'm going to risk it. I've had a bad Coco earlier. Wasn't the best Coco, but it does mean when we play Voice of the Blessed, Heliod will turn on. And then we can immediately give something lifelink. Don't. Well, let's just Voice of the Blessed then. Oh. Well, this is much better. Let's get our Voice of the Blessed. Don't need more land. Don't need another Trelasara. Let's buff our Innkeeper. Got one in hand. And then let's buff our Innkeeper again. I'll keep another Innkeeper though. And let's swing in. So next turn, assuming our opponent's still here, we can Prosperous Innkeeper and Skyclave Apparition. Probably taking out their Balmore. Or if they hold something back. Right, that turned on our Leyline. Which will be turned off again when they attack, but playing Innkeeper and Skyclave Apparition. Might turn it back on. We are going to get hit for a lot. Yeah, but they can't kill us. And obviously we just hit them like without playing anything else. How much do we hit them for? 9, 13, 21, 20. Like we hit them for 23 without playing anything else. But obviously Innkeeper and Apparition will buff our Trelasara by a lot. Well, everything by a lot because of Heliod. So yeah, could have one-shot them basically. Opponent goes first, but I think we can keep this. We'll play out the case first. Them having hexproof doesn't really matter for us. Double Coco. Oh, we can scry to our fourth land. Yep, there it is. They're on quite an aggressive Lifegain deck by the looks of it. We will Coco at the end of their turn. keep a Voice of the Blessed. We need to go wide now, basically. We need basically find Skyclave Apparition. I suppose it doesn't really matter. Obviously, if we can find a Skyclave Apparition, we can take out their Phyrexian Life. And then, well, let's Coco, see if we can hit one. Yeah, we can. And, well, we just gain an absolute bundle of life. And, yeah, take out their Phyrexian life, hit them for a huge amount of damage after all our triggers resolve. Opponent goes first. I do like this hand. I like it being against black less though. We have to... Let's shock in. See, life isn't going to be much of an issue for us, so shocking in is not a massive issue. So Demir control. Well, I think we just wait for... Well, let me take out their pounding. And then we can wait for them to tap out and Coco, I suppose. Oh, I'll wait on their turn. It's a Coco. Well, they didn't tap out. I imagine I have a counter spell, but obviously if it's a Jwari we can pay the 1. Should have played out the Leyline first, really. They didn't have a counter spell last turn.
Phyrexia's plans are already in motion.
Do they just mill us for 15? They do.
Nothing could be more vulnerable than
Well, while they're empty-handed, I will Coco now. Sure, another Coco on top. See, if I have another Jace, we're probably a bit screwed. And yeah, they needed a draw a Jace, but we could start hitting in with our 3/3 Soul Wardens to knock them down to 12, and yeah, just attack with a Voice of the Blessed. We'll probably just do it by itself next turn. We go first. Do need more land. Put Soul Warden into Innkeeper. And if we draw the land, we can Coco. If not, we can just Innkeeper and Trelisara. Well, let's do that then. We've all of a sudden, our games have been hit with massive land issues. Up there is the land. We'll probably just Soul Warden next turn. Unless they play something that is really worth... Oh, obviously, they can turn our Lifegain off for a turn. So hopefully they don't have more. That's potentially a problem, but we can Coco now. So I think we do now to start gaining life. Voice of the Blessed and Guide of Souls. Don't need more land now. Sure, I'll keep that. And yeah, our opponent saw the writing on the wall, even with Torbran. We hitting that turn for, well, 7 or 8. And they either have to chump or they'll probably be dead. And next turn. Opponent goes first. This is an alright hand. We obviously do need more Leyline, Lifegain payoffs. Hopefully with Leyline of Hope we can buff up our creatures. Well, there is the payoff. Next turn I think we play Innkeeper. See, they've got their own life gain, but obviously we also have our life gain. I imagine they have removal. Next turn we can voice and Essence Channeler. Obviously, the more creatures they play, the bigger our ball, the more life we gain. Sorry, we might just have to Skyclave. Their Ajani. They can send a Guide of Souls over the top if they want to attack. Well, that is a bit annoying, but they don't have another red permanent. Let's play out Voice of the Blessed. And then one of our Essence Channelers. Our Voice takes to the air and will attack down their Ajani. And they just jump. Obviously we can Skyclave away their Ajani. What do they hit? Goblin Bombardment. So now their Ajani does do damage. We're up to 40. And they don't attack. Well, I think we just Skyclave away their Ajani. Shame we didn't draw one of our Pain lands. If they have Galvanic discharge. They can do a lot of damage. Take out our Essence Channeler. But obviously they don't. Yeah, if we had one of our pain lands, brush lands, we could have put Essence Channeler into the air next turn and attack for lethal while playing out another Essence Channeler.